Hi guys, welcome to my very first YouTube video. My name is Sarah and I decided to start a channel for a lot of reasons actually. I kind of have a lot of health things going on right now that have all transpired within the past year, and I know for me personally, when you get diagnosed with something or you start going on a health journey, sometimes it's just really helpful to hear other people's stories. And I know, like, I've spent so many nights lying in bed on YouTube, like searching YouTube and watching videos of other women going through some of the different things that I've gone through this past year. And I'm just kind of in the beginning of a lot of this stuff, so I decided that maybe if I could help even just one person with any of my videos, I would find that to be a success. So I decided to do this for that reason, and also to see if I could connect with other people going through a similar situation. So this video is probably going to be all over the place because I'm kind of just going to give like a background and go through the different topics that I'll be covering throughout this channel. So I'll probably have like different, I'll do a different video more specific per topic, and then ongoing for the major things going on in my life. So I'll stop being cryptic. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I think I'm supposed to say that, and hit the subscribe button. If I see that, you know, people are liking this video and they want more, I will definitely do more videos for you guys. So I'll probably do them anyways because I'm not looking to have like 1 million followers or anything like that. But hopefully the quality of these videos goes up when I learn more about what I'm doing and figure this all out. So, so like I said, my name is Sarah. I live in Cleveland, Ohio. I am 37, almost 38, and I have always wanted children, like more than anything. I feel like wanting a husband and wanting children has always been like pretty like tied, but relationship after relationship that has failed throughout my life, I've realized like wanting children is just something that's just always been there. Of course, I want to have a lifelong relationship with someone I love, but it just hasn't happened for me yet. And at 37, almost 38, I've realized I need to do something. If I want to have children, I need to figure this out. There's been a lot of people in my life that have said, you know, just relax and it'll happen when it's supposed to happen. However, something that happened this year to me kind of sped up this process of deciding to move forward and have a baby on my own. So I've been considering this for a good 7 years at this point. I would say when I turned 30, I was like, like if I'm still single when I'm 30, I kept like putting like timelines on when I would have a baby on my own. Like if I hadn't met somebody by 35, I was just gonna do it. And 35 comes and goes, and like I feel like every relationship I would get in, I would think, oh, maybe this is the one and I won't have to have a baby on my own. I can actually, you know, get married and have a child that way. I've always wanted 2 children actually. But this most recent breakup that I went through, basically right when COVID happened, like right when the lockdown happened, is when I was going through this pretty hard breakup. And before I got in that relationship, I had actually made an appointment with a reproductive endocrinologist just to have a conversation and see if I could have some blood work done, or an ultrasound, and like get tested and see what my fertility looked like. So like I said, that was probably, at the beginning of this year, and then I ended up canceling that appointment because I was in this relationship, and I just decided to like put that off for a little bit. The relationship ended, and then I like rescheduled that appointment. And because of COVID, it ended up being, the first appointment was a televisit. And I just lost my train of thought. I hope I can figure out how to edit videos and like cut things out, because I'll cut this out if I can figure it out. If not, then you get to just watch my thought process. Oh, so I had the televisit, and he basically, like, we went over egg freezing. I kind of was in the mindset of just like wanting to do an IUI right away, because I was like, no, I just want to have a baby now. Like, I don't want to wait anymore. And then the more I talked to him, the more I kind of was leaning more towards egg freezing. And he basically said, like, if I freeze my eggs now, that would give me a few years to see if I could meet somebody. Because he said, you know, my 37-year-old eggs, if we used those in a couple years, even up to 5 years from now, that I could still have a successful pregnancy. So so then I started to lean more towards just freezing my eggs and giving myself a few more years. So I had blood work done, and then I had my baseline ultrasound. When I got the results of the ultrasound back, there were two issues. One that I definitely was suspecting, and I will make another video dedicated to this, but they said I have PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. So I was pretty sure that I probably had that, because I had gone off the pill in August 2019, so this is about not quite a year before this appointment, like 8 months, I want to say, before this appointment. So, and after I went off the pill, I had been on the pill for 18 years. So again, I will go into depth about that journey and that experience in another video. But yeah, so I was pretty sure I had PCOS because my periods were like super irregular, and I was dealing with a lot of like cystic acne and oily skin, which you can probably see now. My face is probably getting oily just sitting here, even though I use those like blotting sheets all the time. So that wasn't a huge surprise to me that they said I had polycystic ovaries. But the other issue that I did not anticipate was they found a polyp on my uterus. So I wasn't super concerned about that, because I, of course, Googled it, because I Google everything. And I know my doctors hate that. But I Googled it, and I read that like only 1% of the time are polyps cancerous. So typically they just, they can cause infertility. So my reproductive endocrinologist, I'll call him my RE from now on, he suggested surgery to remove the polyp. They said it was small, but like, again, it could potentially cause infertility. So before proceeding with the egg freezing, we decided I scheduled a surgery within like 2 weeks, and to just get that removed. So that surgery wasn't a big deal at all. It was, you were under general anesthesia when you have that done, but the pain was very minimal when I woke up from anesthesia, and I felt like totally fine by later that day, and the next day, just a little bloated, but I felt fine. So what's interesting is I wasn't even like concerned about this. I just kind of was looking at that surgery as like this thing I had to do before I could like proceed with egg freezing. And I wasn't even like concerned about the results of the biopsy of this polyp. I also want to introduce you to my dog, Lily. So she's sitting here looking at me, and I just feel like she's a major part of my life. It's just Lily and I that live here. But she's the love of my life, and I just thought that I should introduce you to her because She's so sweet. And also you might hear her little like claws on the floor, right? So yeah, so I was not concerned at all about the results of this polyp biopsy. So I think like almost 2 weeks went by. I remember they said that I would get the results within a week or something. And I remember I think it was almost 2 weeks that went by, and I was like, oh, you know, like maybe I should call and find out if they got the results back. So I called, and the person I talked to on the phone like got silent for a little bit, and she was like, oh, you know what, let me schedule a televisit with you and my RE, and he can go over the results with you. And I was like, okay. So I had that appointment later that day, and I remember like he kind of got silent when he was reading the pathology report. So I kind of have a feeling like he didn't read it before he like got on the call for the appointment, because it was a video call, and he seemed all like upbeat and everything, and then he's like reading it, and he was a little bit vague with me because he said, so it looks like the polyp had some precancerous or cancerous cells. So when he said they were either precancerous or cancerous, I thought, oh, okay. So, I mean, that was a little bit of a shock, but I wasn't like too concerned yet because he said precancerous or cancerous. So he was like, at this point, he's like, at this point in your journey, I need to refer you to an oncologist to go over this further with you. But, you know, we'll reconvene, you know, hopefully in the near future and proceed with the egg freezing. So he's like, I'm not, you know, like passing you off to somebody and never going to see you again and telling you your journey's over. Like, this is just the next step that you have to take. So he actually called the oncologist himself, and I'm in Cleveland, so all of this is in the Cleveland Clinic system, which is really well renowned. And he referred me to the head of gynecologic oncology. I think I'm saying that right. He actually called him on his cell and made the appointment for me, and then told me like, can you go tomorrow at 3:30? And I was like, sure. So I go to the appointment and I walk in. I had all these questions written down. I have stuff in front of me now, so I like have notes so I'm not missing anything, but I had this book with me, and I had, actually it's the very first page, like all of these questions for the oncologist. And my first question was, how will we determine which cells were cancerous or precancerous? Or like, can you tell me if they're cancerous or precancerous? So it was like the first question that I started to ask him, and he literally cut me off like mid-sentence, and he was like, oh no, you have cancer. And he just like looked at me like that and was like, you have cancer. And I told myself I was not gonna get emotional making this video. But like, for whatever reason, like even though this was, let's see, June, July, August, like 5 months ago, like every time I like tell this story or like tell somebody that I was diagnosed with cancer, like I just get like emotional. So, and by the way, like when he came into the room, he had like 4 people with him. Like, it just was really intimidating. Like, he walked in and he had like, there was this girl that had a laptop and she was like typing everything that was being said, and then there was like another, like a nurse, and then another person, and then like they all had like papers, and I like, it just was really like intimidating. So that was a shock, because I guess I just assumed that the cells were precancerous and it wasn't going to be a big deal. And to hear that I had cancer, I was like really devastated. So he said that I had grade 2 endometrial cancer, and he explained to me that grade 2 is not the best situation and it's not the worst. So there's grade 1, which is the least aggressive, then grade 2, and then grade 3 is the most aggressive. So my cancer is in the middle. And he basically told me that I needed to have a hysterectomy, that was the next step. And one of the nurses like that was in the room, she like had these papers. She like basically had my hysterectomy like scheduled. Like they wanted me to have a hysterectomy like ASAP, which was scary. And again, devastating for somebody who has never wanted anything more in life than to have children. And so I started crying at this point, I think. And I was like, why do I have to have a hysterectomy right now? Like the first thing that I thought of is like, okay, they removed this polyp. The polyp had cancerous cells, right? So I'm like, so how do we know like if the cancer has even spread to my uterus yet? How do we know it's spread at all? Like my just gut reaction was like, I feel like the cancer was just in this polyp. And he told me that if I refused a hysterectomy, which is what they recommended, that the next step would be to have a DNC and test the lining of my uterus to see if there was cancer in the lining, and also have CAT scans of my chest and abdomen and an MRI of my pelvis. So we got all those scheduled within like 2 weeks. My DNC surgery was scheduled, and mind you, I just had a surgery like 2 weeks before this, so I had another surgery. So my polypectomy, I think you say it that way, that was on June 19th, 2020, and then my DNC was on July 8th, and the following week I had my CAT scans and MRIs, and I scheduled a mammogram also. I've had 2 other mammograms in my life because I have like dense breast tissue apparently. So I've had a couple like lumps that doctors have been concerned about, and that's why I've had mammograms in the past. But I just decided to schedule a mammogram just to make sure, because I was just like, okay, we got the chest and abdomen and pelvis covered, like might as well just be thorough here, you know? So everything, that was a crazy couple of weeks, like waiting for the results of the DNC. Actually, the results of the DNC came pretty quickly. But it was just that I had to wait because I think my CAT scans and MRIs were the week after my DNC, and then my mammogram was the week after that. So just like getting all these tests done and like waiting for the results of all of them was pretty stressful. But they all came back negative for cancer. So I had a follow-up appointment with the oncologist, and I'm thinking, yay, like the cancer was just in the polyp. I can go about my life. We caught it early. The cancer's gone. I'm cancer-free. This is great. So I had the call with the oncologist, and he said that the tumor board at the Cleveland Clinic reviewed my case because he said it's just a very odd and fascinating case because I'm not overweight. I'm not postmenopausal. I basically don't have any of the characteristics that a typical endometrial cancer patient has. So typically they're like over 60, have gone through menopause, or he has seen endometrial cancer in younger patients, but they're typically obese. So he's like, the only thing I can think of is if it's genetic. He said you might have Lynch syndrome, which runs in the family. We recommend that you get genetic testing. And he said if it comes back that you do have Lynch syndrome, we'll probably want to remove your colon and your uterus and your ovaries. And like, just like so overwhelming. so yeah, so he basically said the tumor board at the Cleveland Clinic still recommends a hysterectomy because they think that because my cancer is grade 2, that it is very likely to return and be more aggressive. And he just kept saying that, like, if it came back, I could die. So I ended up still refusing to have a hysterectomy because at my, you know, at this point, I still want children, and I feel like the cancer is not going to come back, and that we caught it early. And to be honest, the reason we caught it early is because my desire to have children was so strong that I decided to go about the whole process on my own because I haven't met the love of my life yet. So I was going to take matters into my own hands. And if we didn't catch that polyp in an ultrasound, who knows like how long the cancer would have just remained in my uterus and like spread, and like I literally probably could have died if I didn't want to have a baby on my own, if I didn't schedule that ultrasound and want to start the egg freezing process. So I am eternally grateful to my future baby or babies because I feel like they saved my life. So yeah, so after that I decided to get a second opinion from another oncologist to because they staged my cancer at stage 1, and in another, I forget the name of the other staging system, there's another staging system that would have staged my cancer as stage 0, which is technically precancerous, because the cancer was just in the polyp, which isn't even like surface layer cells of the uterus, in my opinion. I'm not an expert, but I just feel like it was protruding like out from the lining of my uterus, and it wasn't in the lining of my uterus. It was just on this like growth. And I really feel like, and we'll get into this in another video, but because I have PCOS and because I didn't have my period for several months after I went off the pill, and my endometrium was just like the cells were just growing a lot in there. Like I feel like that's when the polyp probably developed. Who knows? But yeah, I feel like we caught it really early is my bottom line. So I wanted to get another opinion from another oncologist, and then I also like went back to my RE and I said, let's do this, like let's freeze my eggs, because at this point, like if doctors want me to have a hysterectomy ASAP, I feel like I need to have children ASAP, because if the cancer comes back before I'm able to have a child or 2 children, like I would be so upset. And I feel like it's just my life purpose is to be a mom. I know it is. I've always felt that way. And I can't wait for it. So I just knew that I couldn't like let that opportunity pass me by. So, so I started the process with IVF. I will get into this. I will have a whole nother video on my egg retrieval story. It was quite traumatic, but I'll get more in depth into that in another video. But the good news is they got 35 eggs. They retrieved 41 eggs. 35 of them were mature enough to be frozen. So, and I'm really excited that I get to like move on now. Oh, there was one more thing that I had to do before I could proceed. So they wanted me to have a DNC every 3 months to see if the cancer came back. And a treatment that you can do for endometrial cancer is to have an IUD put in, a progesterone only IUD, so like Mirena, because progesterone is shown to prevent or cure endometrial cancer. Like it's been shown, like if you have endometrial cancer and they put a progesterone IUD in, and then they do another, like, then they check 3 months later, like your cancer could be gone by then. So progesterone's awesome for endometrial cancer. So I was thinking of doing that, and then I was like, but I want to get pregnant within the next few months, so I don't think there's a point in me putting an IUD in now. So they were like, okay, you need to have one more negative DNC result, and then you can proceed with an embryo transfer. So my first DNC was, like I said, in July, and so I just had another DNC a few weeks ago in October, and no cancer. So I picked a donor. I might make another video about that if you want me to. Let me know in the comments about how that process went for me, but I picked a donor, and they made my embryos this past week. They made them on Thursday, October 29th. And I got a call on the next day to let me know how many fertilized, and they called me yesterday on the 30th to tell me that out of the 35 eggs that were thawed, 29 eggs survived the thaw, and 18 eggs fertilized successfully. So today I got my update call. So they're gonna call me every day for 5 to 6 days to let me know how they're progressing. But today they called to say, and like I was actually kind of, I know 35 eggs is a ton, and I was so grateful for that with the amount of pain, and I went through so much with my egg retrieval. I had OHSS, ovarian hyperstimulation syndrome, because I have PCOS. That's common with women who have PCOS, but I had like a really bad case of OHSS, and like I'll tell you all about it in another video, but it was really, really bad. So for me to have 35 eggs from that traumatic experience was amazing, because I knew there was no way I was ever gonna do another egg retrieval. To be honest, if for whatever reason all of my embryos like don't make it in this process now, I probably would do another egg retrieval. I just don't want to think about it, though. I really hope I don't have to. So anyways, I was kind of thinking out of those 35 eggs I had frozen that I would have more than 18 fertilized successfully, but that's about half. So I guess that's pretty good, but I don't know why. I just assumed I would have a little bit more than that. But then today when they called me to let me know how many started dividing, I was expecting that I would have lost a lot more at this point after on day 2, but 17 embryos have divided, and they told me they're between 2 and 5 cells, which I was wondering, I need to ask them when they call me tomorrow. I know they're supposed to kind of divide evenly, so when she said between 2 and 5 cells, I was like, like, does that mean the ones that are 5 cells are maybe like not doing as well as the ones that are dividing evenly? But I don't know. I'll find that out tomorrow. But I will let you guys know throughout the process how everything is going. That's my plan, and to make other videos delving a little bit deeper into some of the other topics. PCOS being one, and like my supplement regimen that I have found that really works for my acne with PCOS and my skin, and then becoming a single mother by choice, going through IVF, doing all of this stuff at 37. Like, I just hope that I can connect with other women out there that are in my position, whether it be getting diagnosed with endometrial cancer in their 30s and still wanting to have children, whether it's being in your late 30s and deciding to go through IVF so you can have children on your own. Yeah, so I have kind of a lot of topics to cover, and I want to take you guys along for this journey, and I hope I'm able to help somebody or more than one person and connect with you guys. So I hope this video was okay. I hope I did an okay job. But thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And please like the video if you want to see more, and make some comments on this video letting me know what else you would like to see from me, what other videos you would like me to make. So thank you again for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.